Hello, dear astrology lovers, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alexandra, and I'm a professional ESAR certified astrologer. In today's video, we're covering the astrological transits for August 2026 and what a month it's going to be. We're entering the eclipse season, and on top of that, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and the Sun are all changing signs. Also, Mercury has just finished its retrograde journey through Cancer, and we're all eager to finally accelerate and move forward again. If July was marked by delays, misunderstandings, a melancholic mood with Mercury retrograde in Cancer, insecurity as well, or questioning different areas of your life, August is going to be quite the opposite. We're all going to feel a noticeable shift in energy, not only because Mercury is now moving direct, but also because of all the other planetary shifts taking place throughout the month. And now let's see what you can expect on a personal level. Hello, dear Virgo Rising. This is your horoscope for August 2026. You're starting the month with Venus and Mercury changing signs. Venus is entering Libra in your second house on August the 6th, and just a few days later, on the 9th, Mercury will enter Leo in your 12th house. Mercury is your ruler, so this is important. When these planetary changes happen, Venus in Libra in the second house, Mercury in Leo in the 12th, and Uranus in Gemini in the 10th will form a beautiful lotus configuration. If you're not familiar with this configuration, it's very harmonious and beneficial. It consists of two sextiles and a trine, so it's very positive. And this means that the first half of the month could bring positive changes in your career and finances primarily. Uranus is the ruler of your sixth house, which is the house of work, and it's transiting your 10th house, which represents goals and career. At the same time, Pluto is transiting the sixth house, again, work. And in the first half of August, both of them will be forming a grand air trine with Venus in your second house, which is, of course, the house of finances. So there will be a lot of aspects, harmonious aspects in August. And besides experiencing deep changes in your professional life in the coming years, you could also experience some positive surprises and changes around mid-August. And what adds even more significance to this beautiful air trine is the lotus configuration I just mentioned. So between the 9th and the 15th of August, Mercury, your ruler and the ruler of your 10th house, will be approaching Jupiter in Leo in the 12th house, while at the same time being part of the lotus configuration. There could be amazing opportunities for growth and expansion on a personal level and in your career, but in the background, behind the scenes, because the 12th house is not only involved but also accentuated. What does it mean? Maybe you'll not want to share the news immediately. Maybe you'll want to work silently and let the results speak for themselves later when the time comes. This could be your quiet initiation into something new and successful. It could be a better job offer that comes in the form of a confidential conversation. Also, with Leo so accentuated in the 12th house, this is an amazing atmosphere for those who work in the entertainment industry behind the camera, such as producers, directors, screenwriters, and similar professionals. Leo represents entertainment, and in the 12th house, it's all about being invisible and behind the camera. You'll have a stellium there in August, and at the specific moment on the 12th of August, it will consist of Mercury, Jupiter, the Sun, and the Moon. And of course, the Sun and the Moon will form the solar eclipse I'm just about to cover. But before that, all these planets in Leo in the 12th house are super beneficial for anyone whose work involves imagination and creativity. Since Uranus, Mercury, and Jupiter are involved, it could relate to online marketing, content creation, and similar fields. Mid-August could be extremely productive and fruitful in those fields. And moreover, you could also earn money, or earn more money and improve your finances, at least in August, because Venus in your second house will be in sextile with Jupiter, which is the significator of money and expansion, abundance, and growth. Also, Mercury, which represents you and your career as the ruler of your 10th house, will be in conjunction with Jupiter. So, opportunities for success and financial expansion could appear around mid August. This is especially for those who have similar aspects in their birth chart, because your birth chart is your universe, and whenever current aspects resemble your birth chart, it means that it's your atmosphere and your natal potential can be activated. In this case, if you're looking for a better paid job, do your research in the first half of August. You could find something interesting. The 12th house is also your home in a foreign country because it's the fourth house from the ninth. If you're planning to relocate, circumstances could support you around mid August. There might be some important moves between the ninth and the 15th of the month. Jupiter, which is transiting your 12th house, rules your fourth house, which represents your home. So there could be a possibility of moving abroad in case you've been planning it. You can watch my video about Jupiter's transit through Leo to learn more about that. I made separate videos for each rising sign, so you'll find yours easily. And the 12th house is also the house of your subconscious beliefs. Here, it's super important to explain the upcoming solar eclipse that will happen on the 12th of August at 20 degrees of Leo on the south node. So the eclipse will be in your 12th house. If you have any planets around this degree of Leo, you could experience significant changes over the next 6 months, especially when it comes to your beliefs. The conjunction is absolutely the strongest aspect. And then if you have any planets around 20 degrees of the other fire signs, as well as the air and fixed signs, this eclipse could shake them up and awaken their natal potential. So check which houses they rule and what kind of story they have to offer. And speaking of beliefs, they're extremely important because they shape our reality. So the following 6 months could bring valuable insights, aha moments, and realizations that could change the way you view things. Maybe it's time to let go of the old beliefs that no longer serve you and that you inherited from your ancestors who lived in completely different times. We all have some limiting beliefs that are holding us back. The good news is that they can be identified and changed. And how do you know that you've definitely changed them? You know by the reaction of your body. If your body trusts your new belief or the belief, new belief or the belief that you are trying to install or adopt, it means that you have really adopted it. If there is any discomfort in your body, you don't trust your new belief and it requires more work. And Leo is also the sign of the ego and self awareness. You can think about how authentic you are. Are you aligned with your true identity, or are you trying to adapt because of the beliefs you have? The solar eclipse that's happening in Leo in August is an opportunity to think about that and make some positive changes in the following weeks and months. As I said, this eclipse is happening on the south node, which is like a hole that sucks everything in. And in this case, it could be your old belief system. And around the time of the eclipse, Mercury, your ruler and the ruler of your 10th house, will be in opposition to Pluto in your 6th house. So pay attention to your communication, especially at work. Mercury in Leo can be quite dramatic, especially when it's afflicted by Pluto. So keep that in the back of your mind. The good thing is that Mercury will be in the 12th house, which can make it quieter. But overall, it's good to be aware of the fact that eclipses represent sensitive periods. So don't let things trigger you too easily in the days surrounding this eclipse. And you, of course, don't want to regret your reaction later. Another big change is happening on the 11th of August, right before the eclipse. Mars is entering Cancer in your 11th house. And right after stepping into Cancer, it will form a square with Venus in Libra in your second house and with Neptune in Aries in the eighth. While the harmonious aspects I just covered bring opportunities for growth, it's good to be on guard as well because this T square, in your case, represents the potential for some financial challenges. Mars will be in the 11th house, so be careful with online purchases and payments, especially if you have similar afflictions in your birth chart. With Neptune, there can easily be some frauds. Mistakes and similar. Also, with Venus in Libra in the second house in opposition to Neptune in the eighth, I wouldn't recommend borrowing or lending money or taking out a loan in August. Mars in its fall in the 11th house and in a T square with Venus and Neptune could also impact the atmosphere in your friend circle, especially because it rules your third house. So there could be some tension. Mars in Cancer is often passive aggressive and very reactive because it's stimulated by emotions. In a square with Neptune and Venus, it could bring dishonesty, disappointments, and similar situations and feelings in your relationships with friends. So be aware of that. Like keep it somewhere in the back of your mind. Again, this is mostly for those who have similar aspects in their birth charts. If this is not your atmosphere, you don't have any similar connections between these planets, then these are not your lessons to learn. And in the second half of August, Mars will form a square with Saturn in Aries in your eighth house. Saturn is the ruler of your fifth and sixth houses. So first of all, this is not a time to expose yourself to any risks when it comes to physical activity and movement. Also, pay attention in traffic because Mars rules your third house and Saturn represents trucks and larger vehicles. Again, when it comes to your friends, I wouldn't suggest having any important conversations in the last 2 weeks of August because Saturn and Mars, both in the signs of their fall, could bring a lot of frustration, stubbornness, and even hatred. So postpone the conversations until later. And also, closer to the end of the month, Mars in the 11th and Saturn in the 8th will be in a T square with Venus in Libra in your second house. So again, the second half of the month is not so good for any big financial moves, especially if you have similar aspects in your birth chart. And on the 23rd, the Sun will enter Virgo in your first house, and on the 25th, Mercury will follow. So both of these planets will be squared by Uranus in Gemini in your 10th house. So the end of the month could be a little stressful when it comes to your work, communication with your boss, and the circumstances you can't control. The affliction will be active until the end of the month, and on the 28th, we'll have a lunar eclipse on the North Node at 4 degrees of Pisces in your 7th house. If you have any planets around 4 degrees of Pisces and on the other mutable signs, as well as the earth and water signs, the eclipse could trigger significant changes. As I said, this eclipse will fall into your 7th house, and on the day of the eclipse, the Sun will be in conjunction with Mercury in your first house, and together with the Moon in the 7th, they'll be forming a T square with Uranus in Gemini in the 10th. This is a lot, I know, but overall, this could shake up your relationships with other people, your partner and your boss, because the first, the 7th, and the 10th houses are involved. So pay attention to everything they represent, primarily relationships with other people and also with authority figures, including your boss. With Uranus so prominent, also some contracts or contacts, collaborations, connections could break. The effects of an eclipse can be felt for 6 months after it. So, the period that follows could bring significant changes, primarily in your relationships and also in your career. Some of you could leave or lose a job, even, but that's only to move on and pursue something better. This lunar eclipse is happening on the North Node, which is quite beneficial and works like Jupiter. So, it represents growth. Maybe it's time for some bigger changes and growth in your relationships and work. The 10th house, which is the house which will be under Uranus's impact, represents your goals. Maybe there are certain goals that you have outgrown and that need to be replaced with something more meaningful in this specific moment of your life. And the 10th house is also the house of circumstances we can't control. It's very high above us, and it's out of our control. So sometimes changes can come in the form of circumstances, and it's usually when we are too afraid to leave our comfort zone. So if that's the case, Uranus could push you um, in the form of circumstances. Pay attention to what's going on in the following weeks and months. So, as you can see, the first half of the month is quite beneficial, and the end of it could bring some unexpected twists and turns. This August is marked by such a strong contrast when it comes to aspects and configurations. But everything I've said is not for everyone because, first of all, for events to be activated, the eclipse has to fall on a planet or house cusp or form an aspect with a planet in your birth chart. If the eclipse is activating something in your horoscope and on top of that you have similar afflictions involving Uranus, it could bring some unexpected events and sudden changes. Overall, try to stay grounded in the last week of August and remember that change is often an opportunity for growth and expansion, even if it doesn't seem like that in the beginning. To sum everything up, August is a dynamic month, so try to make the most of the positive aspects and also try to relax and chill out at the end of it. I hope you found this video useful and inspiring, and if you did, please subscribe to my channel. It will help it grow, and that way you will also stay up to date with my monthly horoscopes and other astrology videos. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next one.